Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another video. Last week you saw a $75 full grocery haul meal plan for my husband and myself, and this week I'm actually doing a no spend. Yeah, I went from being on a budget to doing no spend. Maybe later in the year I'll let you know why I'm really crunching down on our grocery budget for this year, but it is a huge goal of mine to just maybe not be as extreme as we were in 2020 and 2021 when we were doing our debt-free and our home buying. But this year, your girl has some major financial goals, and maybe I'll share them with you. Maybe I won't. Anyways, I'm doing a no spend because I am someone who does not love having a ton of food on hand. I know, surprising. But once I feel like my fridge, freezer, and pantry have kind of stocked up a little bit, I like to kind of go through things that are opened, things we need to use up, and so I'm not wasting anything. And then next week I'll do a huge grocery haul. So this week I'm doing no spend. I don't think I'll get through an entire week because I don't have a lot of produce on hand, so I might spend about $20 on produce, but starches we are a-okay on. And I'm going to share with you a couple of my no spend meals, and hopefully to inspire and motivate you to go through your fridge, freezer, and pantry, maybe try a new meal, maybe just use something up that needs used up, and maybe you'll have a little extra money in your pocketbook by not spending some extra money this week. The first thing I'm doing is getting my scraps into a pot and making some veggie broth. And I'm gonna let that sit, boil for a couple hours, simmer for a couple hours. It's gonna be perfection, and it's gonna make some really awesome meal. Also cooking up some quinoa. I'm using the recipe from Love and Lemons on Pinterest. So I'm bringing 1 cup of water, a half a cup of quinoa to a boil, and then letting that come to a boil. Cook it off for 15 minutes, cover it, leave it sit for 10. It's kind of like rice. So I've been liking it this way, and so I'm gonna eat it. My quinoa is done. Ooh, we got some super good, super fluffy. I'll put this in a Tupperware and then just pop it into the refrigerator once it's cooled a little bit. And then I'll have this with some roasted veggies and the dressing that I made. Stay tuned, that is phenomenal. I just tried it, super good. But this quinoa looks awesome. I don't really love quinoa, but I'll eat it every so often, so I do like having it on hand as a bulk meal prep kind of thing. The next thing I'm gonna do is make some brown rice. I have found that this method of cooking brown rice is awesome. I'm just gonna bring this water to a boil and then add about a cup of brown rice. I think what I'm gonna do for the mess that I have made here is kind of bulk meal prep some of my things. This is couscous. I don't even know where this came from. It might have been from a Green Chef meal that we just never used. Ooh, my flame is, see that? She licking the back of my pot. Keep in mind, you're not seeing all the meals that I made for this no spend challenge. I just filmed a handful of them just for inspiration. This oil-free salad dressing though, chef's kiss. It was so good. So I only had apple cider vinegar on hand, so I didn't go to the store and buy red wine vinegar. But this recipe called for red wine vinegar. I thought it was pretty good though with the apple cider vinegar, just a little extra tart. But it's just Italian seasoning, a ground mustard, and vinegar. And then I went ahead and added some chopped dried onions. I don't know if I do that again. And I add a little bit of salt because I like my food salted. And if you don't have a salt issue, like health-wise, you don't need to take salt out. Salt is actually good for you, especially me. I use it as an iodine, plus I work out a lot, so it's good to replenish my storage. Anyways, just throwing that out there because every time I put salt in my meal, I have someone who comments like, that's so unhealthy for you. Sure, if you need to keep salt out of your diet, do so, but I don't need to, so I put salt in it. Super good, super thick, and then I put this over my veggies, rice, and quinoa. Dude, game changer with quinoa, so good. It's like a vinaigrette Italian style dressing, highly recommend. All right, decided to make a corn chowder right now instead of a red lentil curry because I was like, ooh, I have 2 cans of corn sitting on hand I'm going to use these Japanese sweet potatoes. I'm going to, I was going to say shave them. I'm not going to shave them. This is just shy of a pound, which these are really tiny, but it was like 15 ounces. I'm going to peel them, chop an onion, get the onion sauteing in a water saute, and then I'm going to cream half of it and make like half chunky, half creamy. It's going to be really delicious. It's going to be really basic, but I think it'll be good. And then as far as seasonings, I'm going to put some nutritional yeast, salt, and paprika in it. And that'll be it. This is all I could save of the sweet potatoes. Not so good. So I'm going to add a couple regular potatoes to this to bulk it up because that's not very many. Guys, I have successfully figured out how to chop an onion without my eyes just like bawling, watering. I saw this on TikTok and I can't wait to share it with you guys because it's a trick you guys can do at home. Everybody has one of these. First, you need a hoodie like this. No, I'm not kidding. This is real. Then you need the lid of a pot. Then you just tie it like this and, oop, we're sneaking out. Go chop your onions. You can't breathe very good, but no, you won't get water in your eyes. If you couldn't tell, that was a joke, just a joke, but you could do this if you wanted. I did see it on TikTok. And now that you know how to successfully chop onions without your eyes watering, we're going to water saute these. Just add a little bit of water, cook it on medium heat. As the water goes away, you add a little bit more water. Super simple. Add a little bit of salt. Gets the water released quicker. When they're translucent, then we'll add everything else. Into my pot, I'm putting 2 cups of almond milk. This is actually sweetened. No, I do not care. It's like an almond coconut blend. Don't care. This can be super sweet. That's fine. Also putting in all my potatoes and basically going to bring this to a boil. Stirry stir. And then put in your corn. I need more liquid. As you can see, it's kind of like not enough, but I'm going to just top this with the broth that I just finished and just fill it all the way up to the top. Make sure it doesn't overboil. Also gonna add some paprika and about a 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast and let that all cook together. My corn chowder smells amazing. Sorry for this terrible angle, but real life. Okay, you're actually sitting on top of my Vitamix. I'm going to put a little over half of this in my Vitamix, blend it up, and then add it back to the pot, and then just bring it back to kind of a simmer, because I think it'll be so creamy, and then I can put it over rice, which, like, yes, please. Okay, probably the best pantry meal I've ever made. Highly recommend, if you have the Japanese sweet potatoes, putting that in here. If not, a Hana sweet potato or even a regular one, just, oh my gosh, this stuff, excuse my language, it slaps. It is so thick, so creamy. Shout out to Alyssa all day because I've been binge watching her content while I'm cooking the last few weeks. It's kind of like my guilty pleasure. And she made something like this. Girl, yes, this is awesome. Highly recommend. And you probably have all the ingredients on hand. All right, here's my secret weapon when it comes to a pantry style prep challenge. If I get stuck with an ingredient, I type in one single word, red lentil recipes, pasta recipes, few ingredients easy. I always put those, one ingredient and then the words few ingredients easy. And I get so much inspiration. I don't do a lot of Pinterest recipes per the actual recipe because usually they have like 100 ingredients and some of the things I'm like, where do you even buy this stuff? But you get inspo from it. Like this lentil soup I'm about to make here. No, I didn't add all the ingredients that it called for. I didn't add the oils or the seasonings, but I had some things on hand and it turned out so good. So I took a onion block. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it in this video. So you just have to click the down arrow and you're going to see it. So it's like a frozen onion block. I don't even know. It's like I put it in the food processor anyways. Check that video out. You won't be disappointed. You'll see a ton of tips on how to save money on your groceries, especially now with prices going up literally every 10 seconds. So don't sneeze, guys, because that'll make grocery prices go up. Anyways, also have some chopped peppers in there that were frozen. Put that in with a little veggie broth that I made in the beginning of the video. Added some spices, brought it to a boil with my lentils, cooked it for 12 minutes, and then moved it to my high-speed blender. If you don't have a high-speed blender, I mean, it's a great purchase. I always link mine down below. I know a Vitamix is like super not budget friendly, but like I get so much use out of it. It's insane. Anyways, once they were cooked to my liking, I did add a little bit of cumin because it just needed a little hit of something, and that was perfection. A little cayenne, salt, garlic, cumin. Keep it simple. Put it in my food processor, blended it up. The soup was so good. And it was actually an inspo from a soup that I have, a can of soup in my pantry that I had for lunch one day, and then I had another can I sent with my husband, but it was a red lentil sweet potato soup. So had I had a sweet potato on hand, I would have cooked that with my lentils, made it soft, and added the flavor in with it. Here's that soup that was the inspo, along with Pinterest, because that's my secret weapon when it comes to pantry meal preps. And this whole bowl was 40 grams of protein. And listen, I know you don't need, the recommended dietary protein a day, but you still need protein, and it's fun to share how you can get plant-based protein for anybody who's clicking on my video, who's looking to save some money, maybe take some animal products out. That's a lot of protein coming from lentils. Anyways, this next meal is like a SpaghettiOs mock meal. The only thing I didn't have is fresh garlic, but I talked about Kale Junkie last week in a video. If you don't follow her on Instagram, you should. She doesn't do a lot of plant-based recipes, but she does some. And even though they're not plant-based, sometimes I get inspiration from her. But she made this like SpaghettiOs dish, and I didn't have the tiny pasta she did, but I made it. It was so good. Sometimes I feel like my pantry meals that I make on a whim turn out better than the meals that I like plan for. Anyways, I put everything in a pot, bring it to a boil, cook it for 8 minutes, and then I pull it off the heat and let it sit for like another 10 minutes, and it really thickens up the sauce. Ooh, it's so good. It's so good. It does have that kind of like SpaghettiOs taste, and I believe it's because of the tomato sauce. And I'm sorry if you can't have tomato sauce, you could definitely use something else. I mean, you could literally put this in that lentil, like creamy lentil soup. That would be really good. But look how delicious this looks. It was a 10 out of 10. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope it gave you some inspiration for your own kitchen. Make sure to follow me over on Instagram at Flourishing Miranda, and of course subscribe here because I put out new videos every single week. I will see you soon in a new video. Bye-bye.